Hi, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a little bit different. We're going to be showing you what our garden looked like when we first purchased the property and what it looks like now after living on the property for 4 months. So when we first purchased this property, the garden was like a huge reason for why we wanted it. The potential at the back of the property to use the land to create garden spaces and an allotment space, mainly to grow vegetables for ourselves and grow flowers for a potential business, was a huge draw for us. We knew that the house needed quite a bit of work to bring it up to what we wanted, which we're hopefully going to be starting very soon, but the garden we knew we could get kind of stuck into straight away. When we first bought the property, everything was quite overgrown. As far as we were aware, the land at the back had only been used to have sheep on it occasionally. Other than that, it had kind of been left to go a little bit wild, hadn't really been looked after. Trees were overgrown, lots of weeds were overgrown. The first thing that we did was clear around the back of the house so that we could see what we were kind of working with. There was an old fence and gate, but the fence was pretty badly broken and overgrown, so we ended up kind of pulling that out and replacing it. We replaced it with new sheep wire fencing and then decided to do our own willow fencing as well. One of the biggest tasks was to take down the trees that were on the southern border. There is a previous video on that if you want to go back and check that out. But we knew that they were one of our biggest obstacles and were going to cost us quite a bit of money, but it needed to happen so that we could actually get some sunlight in this garden, which obviously the trees were preventing. Once the trees came down, it was then a matter of waiting for the land to dry out. With the machinery that had been on the land, it became really saturated. It was impossible to grow anything in. The land was really uneven. It was just a big mess, to be honest, and was hard to kind of envision what it could be. It was still winter, so the weather was not on our side, obviously. And we just had to wait. One of the most frustrating things sometimes is having to be patient and wait for the land to tell you when it's ready to grow in. Ironically, now we're probably going through one of our hottest points of the year, but we have plants in the ground, and you know, we've turned it into something that's much more level. We've created a space so far that we really enjoy. We really enjoy spending time in the garden already, and it's only a third, maybe not even a third, maybe like a quarter done, because we have the space behind the house that will probably be one of the last areas that we do. We have the allotment space that we're moving on to now, and we've also got the edges, the boundaries. We've done a little bit, we've put a few trees in, and we've planted a few things, but that is also going to be a really valuable area to work in. I suppose we always kind of knew what we were going for. We knew what worked for us in our previous garden, so we had an aim for what we wanted to do in our next garden, and we, just as with the plan of how we wanted our extension to be on our house, we do like to draw things out roughly how we want them. So we did do a plan. We had a rough idea of what we wanted to do. We obviously had a vague idea of what plants we had, what plants we needed, that we didn't already own. And we knew what sort of feeling we wanted from the space. The thing I find with gardening is that it can kind of evolve. So what we're doing this season might not necessarily work for us next season. So, you know, we're probably putting a few things in certain areas that we might move or that might not work, that might clash with other plants, that might outgrow that area. So I always find that gardens are kind of evolving with you and growing with you. A garden as you plant it initially is never going to stay that way. So it's important, I think, to think about what you would like your garden to eventually look like. Like, we have planted some trees in and amongst our ornamental garden, and there was a previous comment on one of my videos that was saying that one of these particular trees gets very large. In some ways we're kind of counting on it. We want the trees to get bigger. We want there to be shade and areas that, you know, block some of the sunlight. We just don't want it to be the entire length of the garden. I think it's important to have these areas that have light and shade. I mean, at the minute, because we took down all the trees, we're quite exposed. There's only really the willow tree that we left in the middle, which I'm actually really grateful that we did. The big sycamore that's just behind me, which is great for shade as well on that particular side of the boundary. But where we are has a lot of exposure. So we have put trees in certain areas that we are hoping will get bigger, that will create those pockets of shade throughout the garden, that will slow down the wind as well and create a bit of a wind break. As again, because we are quite exposed, we do get hit by wind and bad weather quite a lot. So yeah, so we're sort of future-proofing our garden in a way as well. We're trying to think of how the garden is going to look in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years. You know, it's going to expand and it is going to evolve. You know, it's going to turn into something that it's not going to resemble at this moment in time. So I'm really pleased that it looks how it does. Don't get me wrong. We're really pleased with how it's coming along, and obviously a lot of things are coming up. Things are coming into flower now. By the end of the summer, I'm hoping it will look really beautiful. But it is a work in progress, and even when we've completed the allotment space and we've completed the area behind the house and we've completed the borders, I still think there's going to be things to do. There's going to be areas that we need to change, that we need to work around, and there are going to be changes, and I think that's good, because you need to work with the space as it evolves with you. You know, it's going to be interesting to see what it looks like in the future, and I can't wait for that.